South Korea has emerged as a highly prosperous country in Asia, ranking just behind Japan, Taiwan, and Singapore in terms of economic growth. Within a span of 5 decades, South Korea has transformed from an agricultural society with limited natural resources to a thriving global economy. The country boasts internationally renowned companies that manufacture high-quality products such as advanced consumer electronics, heavy industrial machinery, and container ships that have facilitated global trade. Apart from its significant industries and strategic geopolitical position in the world, South Korea often does not receive as much attention as Taiwan in the ongoing global computer chip Cold War. However, South Korea is the world's second-largest manufacturer of high-end semiconductors, an industry that holds the potential to bring both economic gains and unwanted attention. What factors will drive South Korea's future growth in the next decade? And what challenges could impede its entire economic system? Finally, why is all of this critical to economists worldwide, even beyond the borders of South Korea? South Korea's economy. A background. South Korea is home to numerous world-leading industries that have the potential to make it one of the wealthiest economies globally within the next century. While local industries, including those with a strong focus on exports, can drive a nation's growth to a certain extent, the presence of global companies that control value across the entire global economy is vital for countries seeking to surpass a particular level of wealth. South Korea boasts several prominent corporations such as Samsung, Hyundai, LG, Kia, and Daewoo that sell well-known products globally. These companies have operations spanning across the world, with many taking place outside of South Korea. Despite having limited iron ore deposits, the country is home to the world's 6th largest steel producer. South Korea imports raw materials from various parts of the world, processes them into high-quality steel parts, and sells them at significant margins to countries like China, Japan, and India, who require them for manufacturing and infrastructure development. South Korea utilizes the steel it produces to fuel its own industries. Global trade and economic cooperation have been significant driving forces behind economic growth over the past century. The global GDP aligns almost seamlessly with global trade value, because the more countries trade with one another, the better they can specialize in providing cheaper and superior goods and services to the global economy. The cheapest way to transport goods over long distances is via massive container ships and bulk freighters, which account for approximately 90% of global trade. The ships built by South Korean shipbuilders are a vital component of global economic growth, and without them, this driving force could come to a halt. However, there are concerns that the world may be shifting away from globalization due to trade tensions, conflicts, and vulnerabilities exposed by the global pandemic. There is a growing trend towards domestic production and reduced international shipping as countries seek to strengthen their supply chains and reduce reliance on global trade. Despite concerns that the shift away from globalization and trade tensions may decrease international shipping, the demand for larger, more effective ships and countries seeking to build their own fleets offsets the potential loss. South Korea, with its easy access to the oceans and world-leading shipbuilding companies, is well-positioned to benefit from this demand. Additionally, its advanced semiconductor industry, the second largest in the world, is crucial in the ongoing global competition for access to these ships between China and the US. The Korean Wave. Apart from economic benefits of its major industries, South Korea's economy is also being driven by the global popularity of its pop culture, which could potentially be a significant boost. The rise of Korean pop culture, commonly known as K-pop, has gained immense popularity worldwide, contributing to South Korea's economy in a significant way. The Korean pop culture phenomenon has taken the world by storm, with Korean bands, skincare products, movies, shows, fashion, holidays, and even plastic surgery becoming highly sought-after products globally. A country's reputation for providing quality goods and services can make a significant difference in the willingness of global consumers to pay a premium for their products. Countries with good reputations can add significant markups to their exports or leverage their reputation as a world-leading producer to sell goods produced in other countries, such as German automakers selling cars made in South Carolina, Mexico, and China. Therefore, the rise of Korean pop culture could potentially be a game changer for South Korea's economy. The Korean Wave, as it's been named, presents an opportunity for South Korean businesses to expand their reputation and profitability in industries like fashion, entertainment, and tourism. Global consumers are willing to pay more for products from countries with a good reputation, even if the quality is the same or worse. Hyundai is a prime example of this shift in reputation, as the once cheap car brand is now producing cars that compete with the top offerings from Lexus, Mercedes, Audi, and BMW. South Korea's reputation is no longer one of being a random Asian center of low-cost manufacturing. South Korea's population problem. Despite its impressive economic growth, South Korea is not without challenges. One major obstacle is its low birth rate, which has dropped to 0.84 births per woman, the lowest in the world. The country's success has led to its own downfall, as citizens have become wealthier and more focused on their careers, leading to a lack of desire to start families. As a result, by 2070, it is projected that half of the population in South Korea will be over the age of 65 due to the combination of low birth rates and longer life expectancies. The aging population issue in South Korea poses a severe threat to the country's economy, as half of the population is expected to be over 65 by 2070. The problem is compounded by the fact that the country has the lowest birth rate in the world. There will be fewer young people to support the growing elderly population. The economic burden of this demographic shift is not only on the younger generation, who will have to pay higher taxes to fund pensions, but also on the lack of available labor to provide care for the elderly. With so many elderly people needing full-time care, the demand for various jobs will only increase, and even with automation, it is unlikely to be enough to meet the needs of the aging population. Typically, the solution for advanced economies facing a similar demographic challenge is to attract young skilled workers from poorer countries who are seeking better incomes and a higher quality of life. However, this trend is often devastating for the countries they leave behind, a phenomenon known as brain drain. South Korea, being an advanced country with high living standards, would typically be the recipient of skilled labor rather than the source. However, this is not the case for South Korea. The chonse system. South Korea's housing market presents a pressing challenge that needs to be addressed in the near future. Like other Asian countries, South Korea has experienced a rapid period of development over the past few decades, resulting in home prices that have increased much faster than incomes. In fact, the median home in Seoul costs 14 times the median income, which is a considerable burden for many people. To tackle this issue, South Korea has devised a unique approach that enables individuals to pay for their homes. South Korea has developed a unique solution to address the issue of rising house prices, which is known as chonse, or a key money deposit. This system allows property owners to lease their property for a fixed period, and instead of charging rent, the occupants pay an upfront deposit between 60 to 80% of the property's value. At the end of the lease, the occupants can get their entire deposit back, effectively living in the house rent-free. This system has become a popular alternative to buying or renting a home and has helped many Koreans to secure a place to live. Property owners agree to the key money deposit system as it provides them with a zero-interest loan. This approach is commonly utilized by South Korean property investors to buy one apartment and use the key deposit received as a down payment on additional homes. Most tenants are unable to buy their own homes due to financial constraints, hence why they opt for the key money deposit system. Typically, these deposits are funded by borrowed money, since it is easier to obtain a loan for a deposit rather than buying an entire apartment. Some tenants enjoy the flexibility of moving between homes without paying rent. The chonse system has its advantages, but it heavily relies on the increase in home prices. For instance, a property investor who uses the deposit money to buy more properties may encounter issues if any of the tenants decide to move out, since the investor would need to refund the deposit, which he doesn't have because he used it to purchase other properties. Fortunately, in the past, this hasn't been an issue, since the house could be leased to another key deposit tenant and their new deposit could cover the previous tenant's deposit. With the increase in the property value, the new deposit could even be more significant than the old deposit, giving the investor the ability to buy even more homes. When property prices go down, the system falls apart. This is currently happening in South Korea for the first time since the Asian financial crisis. The government has implemented policies to discourage the system, but this could lead to a potential sell-off as over-leveraged landlords may attempt to obtain enough cash to refund their depositors. Moreover, they are required to refund their depositors if they choose to move out and no one else wants to take their place. This situation may result in a panicked sell-off and a sharp drop in property prices. Despite the prevalence of multinational corporations in South Korea, the majority of average citizens' wealth remains invested in real estate. If the key deposit system were to fail, it could potentially undermine any economic progress that South Korea hopes to achieve in the coming years. What do you think? Is South Korea's economy going to get much worse in the coming days? Comment your thoughts below. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay up to date with our latest uploads.